Tears running down the nigga face. In a room full of failures, I feel out of place. Still sleeping on the floor when you deserve better. Got you reeking through the cold even in warm weather.
Welcome to Lost Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. My name is Astøn, and I'll be hosting today's episode of Lost Culture's Power Season 4, Episode 3, The Kind of Man You Are recap. So, jump right into it. Let's set a goal for today's likes. Let's see if we can hit 14 likes on this video. We normally get a lot of views, we don't really get too many likes or comments. And let me know what's your favorite part of the episode and who you think will be the first main character to die, since we know it's going to be a couple characters that die this season. Alright, from there, let's jump right into it. So the first thing, when we open up this episode, we see three people being pulled in by the feds. We see Julio, we see Dre, we see Keisha. All three of them are being questioned at the same time. And we see when Julio and Dre are brought into the office, we see those two are walking right past each other. Nobody even get to see Keisha. So, and I don't even think those two would even recognize Keisha if they even seen her, because I don't think they ever had a scene where they interacted with Keisha. So for them, that really didn't even matter for the situation. Now going on from there, the first person we're going to talk about is Julio. Julio, you know, he gets called in, not called in, but drug in. We see he's giving his little story about how James saved his life. At the same time, we see when Sandoval is questioning Dre, he's giving the same exact answers that Sandoval is giving. Not Sandoval, but Julio is giving in a little different, in a different variance, like this for his own way. And it's cool to see that even with them not being connected, they both understand how to play the game. And we see both of them like, oh, blah, 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 like he saved my life, he's not that type of guy, he's a good guy, he's just a businessman. And he gives back to the hood. And I love to see that, because that breaks down like any kind of thing they could get from those guys. Now, going on deeper in the story, we see Julio, as soon as he gets out, the first person he goes and visit is Tommy. Not Tommy, but Dre. He goes to the club, he shuts down the drug business, and tells Dre, like, look, let's shut down the drugs, we're too hot right now, we'll figure everything out and find a new way to get everything figured out. So from there, we see Dre kind of disobeys him. Like Dre says okay and kind of like disobeys him. And I feel like that's definitely going to cause some friction. We already seen it start to cause friction in this episode. We see after that Julio talks to Tommy, because Tommy is definitely feeling the missing, like the absence of Julio. Julio being questioned. Drugs are being moved or not supposed to be moved at. And that's all because Julio is not doing his job because he's tied up with the feds. Now, while then we see, while all that is going on, we see, that's really all we see for Julio. Well, we see later on in the story, in the episode, that when Tommy does his little Houdini act, that he kind of hits Julio with that "never know who you can trust" line, and you see Julio's face sounds like turn sideways, like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean? But we know what it means because we get the little reference from, we seen the conversation between Tommy and Dre. So going that angle, we're going to holler about Dre. So Dre had it easy this episode. We see he didn't have to talk, he had to worry about Kanan running up on him. He see his interaction with Tommy is a lot less like attitude for Tommy. Tommy's more like, yeah, what's up, what's going on? Thanks for stopping by and everything. And he's understanding of Dre instead of like questioning Dre, being an asshole towards Dre. And I think Dre really does appreciate that. But at that same time, Dre slides in that little reference like, oh, Julio was there longer than I was, so I don't know what's really going on. Might want to check into that. And as always, just to throw a wrench in between Julio and Tommy so he can step up, get that position. It makes it a little bit easier to move those drugs. At the same time, moving drugs, we see, I don't know if Dre decided to keep moving the drugs because of the Kanan situation or just because he feels like his plan is like perfect, so he had to worry about it. Because we're definitely starting to see that Ghost move out, that Ghost come out of him. And if we know anything, we know the way Ghost moved up was by killing the guy above him. So either killing him or removing him. So Julio has two options here: either get killed or being sat down outside the game for a minute. And Dre has no ties to Julio. So he's probably going to be killed this season. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm going with. I don't think Julio's going to make it out this season. I feel like Dre is, but I don't feel like Julio is. And with that being said, that's all we see of really Dre after this episode. We see when Julio comes in, shut the drugs down. We see Dre kind of just kick Sue out the room. Like, he didn't kick her out, but he's like, oh, I forgot to do this count. Can you go do that count for me? And once that happens, he tells the other girl, hey, look, just keep doing it. Just keep doing the drugs. Don't tell Sue anything, and we'll keep this money going. And I'm glad to see, it, but because we definitely see that ghost come out of him, like I said, and a little bit of Kanan with the turning people against each other. That's definitely like the Kanan side of him coming out. Going on from there, we got Ghost in jail. Boy, I love to see how messed up he was. Cause we see when the episode starts up, he's all raggedy, no haircut, no lineup, his beard all growing out crazy, and once we see Raina is crying, once we see the newspaper with Raina crying on the paper, we see that's when Ghost kicks in. We can see a clearer transition from James to Ghost in this episode. We see Tony's trying to extort him. We see that he's not getting along with Silver. He really does not fuck with Silver on any types of level. Even though Silver did get the DNA evidence thrown out, him and James just do not get along. And it's funny that once we see when Raina was crying on the newspaper, that's when the ghost switch really clicked all the way on. We see his beard lined back up. We see it cut off. All that is going on. He got a fresh lineup. His hair is trimmed down to like his regular ghost level. And he's really on some street shit. We see him putting his hand down. He's coming up with plans, a way to get the information that Proctor needs so he can make the payment. Which is a whole other line. I talk about Tony in the Tony and Tommy tie-ins a little bit later because I'm pretty sure that's Tommy's dad. And we see how everything is going on. We see with Silver, he doesn't believe that Ghost is off. He doesn't believe that Ghost is innocent. Well, Ghost isn't innocent just of this crime. He is innocent. Going on from there, what else do we got going on with Ghost? We see him and Silver had that conversation in the episode. He's talking about, oh, I'm not the privileged one. You're the privileged one coming from where I'm coming from. And we see Silver hit him with the, like, I see you, I did it the right way and you did it the wrong way. Like, we're both black men. We're both in different situations because we both made different choices, which is true. And what Silver's stance is, it's not because of where I'm from. It's not because of how much money my parents had or anything like that. It's just because we've made different choices, because our integrity is different. I'm more to sticking, like, walking the line, and you're willing to cross it when it seems necessary for you. And that's cool. Like, I love seeing that. I thought Ghost was going to break down for a second when Angela came in. I'm glad to see he stuck strong. Like, nah, my boys got to stay with me. Like, I got to keep them with me if anything goes down, just in case. Because I feel like if Proctor and Silver wasn't there, James might have taken that deal. I feel like James is dumb enough for Angela to take that deal. And there's no telling what, like Proctor said, she does not have enough power to give that deal. So I'm glad he stuck to his guns, held everything down with the boys, and got that all figured out. Now, going on from James, we see when he finds out about who Tony is, he doesn't know who he is. Like I don't understand how you know who I am, because I really don't know who this dude is. Like, he has no knowledge of this guy, even though he's a big gangster from the city, from the town or the area they're from. He just doesn't know who the hell he is. Now let's go over to Tommy. So Tommy got everything moving smooth as hell. I love to see how smart Tommy is on his own. This is where I felt like last season slacked, because last season, like, we wanted to see Tommy step up and take over the drug business, which he did, but he was just so reckless with it, and we was like, damn, Tommy, that's why you need to go so much. But in this season, these first couple of episodes, we get to see, even though Tommy is still out doing that reckless stuff that he was doing last season, he's a lot smarter about it. He's when it comes to the drugs, he's not as stupid. He's being smart about it. Like I said, he came up with this big idea to, do not let them bring money into the establishment. Do not let them spend money in here. Have them do all their bets and everything outside at a different location. That's where we take their money at. And we'll do everything. We'll do all their bets and stuff. But they have like a set currency already. So they can't go beyond that currency or whatever. That's a smart idea. Like, look, you guys set to a certain limit. You win, you lose some. Regardless, it doesn't happen here. So it's taking place in two different areas. So if the feds do break in, so if the feds does bust in, there's no telling, like, they're already like really gambling there. So that was a smart idea the way Tommy did that. And we see the feds were outside, so Tommy did a little Houdini trick, went inside the little not barrel, but the you know what I'm talking about. He went inside the little crate and went on the truck. They took him to the real drug location. So going on from there, we see when he got there, he's talking. He hits Julio with the little, you never know who you can trust line. But at the same time, we see him and Petard get into it because ghost situation is still going on, and we see that all about that is going on. He has to move the drugs, try to figure out how to stay under the radar. Tommy has to deal with Keisha. He has to deal with the kids. He has to deal with Tasha. Everything is falling onto his shoulders that was normally on Ghost's shoulders. So Tommy had to step up in so many different levels. And it's crazy. Like, it's cool to see that he's actually fitting into it and getting everything worked out. We see that it used to be Ghost had to juggle the kids, who had to juggle his two different women, who had to juggle the drug business. And now we're seeing Tommy is doing it all on his own while finding ways to duck the feds. We see he had a little conversation with Raina and Tariq. Not really a conversation with Raina. He just dropped Raina off at school and had a conversation with Tariq. Like, look, man, you're wilding out right now. I need you to calm down. I need you to just get your head straight because we're all in this together. And Tariq hit him with like, I don't trust my dad. You don't really know my dad, blah, blah, blah. He don't look, your dad does lie sometimes. But I believe in the situation. I was glad that Tommy was real with him in that moment. I think it was something that Tariq needed to hear. Like, yes, your dad does lie sometimes, but at the end of the day, I don't think he would lie about this. And he understands that his dad isn't only keeping secrets. Like, he doesn't like his dad isn't just like doing this to him. This is just a normal part of his dad to other people also. He only opens up. He's real compartmentized. He compartmentizes everything. He only lets people in to a certain degree. So maybe more so to protect himself. And that's cool. Like, I'm glad to see that Tommy actually opened up about that to Tariq. Now, going on from there, we see but Tommy has to talk to Proctor. Let Proctor know, like, look, you better have everything under control. And which we know Proctor does. Proctor's a great lawyer in this situation. We see he's holding down Keisha. Like, look, Keisha, nothing's going to happen to you. I got your back. Just play it calm. I wish in this episode 2 when he said, we can train you about what to say to the feds. I wish they would have showed them actually training her because it doesn't seem like she was trained at all for the situation. She was very emotional when she was talking to Angela. But that's I'll get more into that part when we get down to Keisha's like character in this episode. Now, with all that being said, that's really all there was for Tommy. So let's move on to Kanan. Kanan, I'm going to do actually I'm going to wait for Kanan. I'm going to do Kanan after the kids. So the kids are in school. We got Raina's kind of looking at her phone, seeing that the news about her dad, whatever. She's kind of upset. Like, she's like sad. And we see a little bully come over, like, hey, baby girl, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know your dad didn't mention killing part of career on career day. And we see Tariq hams him up. I'm glad to see Tariq sticks up for his sister, even though later on in the episode, we see Tariq and Raina fighting. So while Tariq is out here acting a fool, we see he's giving the codes over to Kanan, and Kanan is breaking into the houses later on while everybody's gone or whatever, and doing the come up. And that's all we see of Kanan. We see Kanan with Tariq just talking and everything about his dad, and we see Tariq starting to open up about his dad dying or whatever, and he doesn't really care and everything, and which is true, but isn't true at the same time. It's kind of why he's acting out, because his dad is in trouble and he doesn't understand what's going on. Partially because of his parents. Like, kept things from him. But beyond that, that's the main reason he's acting out. So we see when Raina's trying to talk to him, he's like, man, get the fuck out of my room, whatever. And like, I don't even know why you went here, whatever. Why you so fucking dumb and everything. And I was like, damn, Tariq, why you going so hard on your sister like that? Like, it's not her fault you feel the way you are. You know, like, she's in the same position you are. Both your parents, like, he's her parent also. Like, and she's a lot more understanding of the situation. She's a lot more level-headed and more controlled than Tariq is. She's definitely, like, more, like that understanding of the situation, but she is more hopeful that her dad is innocent rather than Tariq. Tariq just like, oh, they keep secrets from us, so they gotta be lying. And we see that when they're doing all that he actually does hit a nerve with her, like where she's like, oh, maybe it is true. And that's probably why she was so emotional when we see her later on in the episode when she's talking to Tasha and Ghost calls. I'm glad to see that Ghost called, like, they check up on his daughter once he's seen that. But beyond that, like, it's hard. Like, I know that's like extremely hard to have your child breaking down uncontrollably. You're not being able to do anything for him. I know that sucks for him. So going on from there, we covered Kanan, like covered the kids. Who else do we got left? Proctor. So all the while Proctor, like, he's trying to get the information, trying to get Ghost off, but it seems like Proctor has to fight with Silver as much as he has to fight with John. Like, why? It's like, I understand why Silver, like, look, man, you need to, like, separate yourself from this case or whatever. You're tying yourself down with them. You're going to lead down to a dead end. Mess around with these people. And I understand that, and we see Silver like, we need to think about taking this, and it just doesn't work out. We see Proctor and Silver's butting heads. We see Silver and James's butting heads. But we see at the end of the episode that Silver does come through with the evidence. And that's one thing we can, like, I gotta say, like, even though he doesn't like James, like he said, your money's spent just like everybody else, and it lets me do the things that I need to do. So I feel like he's no better than James, honestly. When he gives him the whole little moral thing and integrity, if you believe someone is guilty, and you're saying he sold out for money, but if in that situation, it's like he sold out too, because if you're willing to put your morals, you're willing to put your morals to the side to get a guilty man off for murder, how is your integrity any better than his? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Your integrity isn't any better than his because you're willing to sell your integrity for $1, or at least put it to the side so you can make $1, which is like he's like basically his morals like, oh, by letting off one criminal, I can stop these other people from becoming criminals. So I get what he's saying, like the morality of the situation, but wrong is wrong either way. Like, if you're getting a criminal off, you're just as guilty as that guy is, since you knew he was guilty. That's just how I feel about the situation. Now, with like, so that's my whole like spill on Silver. Like, I don't have any issue against lawyers. My brother's a lawyer, so. But on this, that's how I feel about the whole little situation right there. Now, Proctor is still getting drugs for his wife right there. We didn't get to see his daughter at all in this episode. We do get to see that he, like, flipped the tables on the prosecutors when Silver gets that evidence. Because we see Angela actually does mention a traffic stop like an episode or two ago to John. And John just blatantly ignores it, like, oh, it could be just a lie he told. And it turned out to be true. And we see that if John decided to keep that, and this is partially Sax's fault also, because if Sax wanted to take that information to the judge about, oh, I have this recording that could be that is illegal, gotten from an illegal like CI, basically it might tie St. Patrick into being Ghost. I think the judge would have been a little bit more lenient towards John and everybody, because we see once Proctor brings the situation like, oh, Angela Valdez knew about it. When she comes out, she's honest about it. Like, yes, I told my superiors about it, and they decided not to give you the information. Not me. I brought the information to them, and they didn't follow up on it. So I'm glad she did protect herself by bringing that up. We see John like, oh shit, like I can't believe I didn't follow up into it. And the judge like, look, I don't know if you covered it up, or I don't know if you just didn't look into it like you said, but I know y'all doing some shady stuff over there, because we had a shady we got the agent we're investigating, where you guys were investigating is literally like, it's known to be a mole. You got Angela who was sleeping with St. Patrick, and evidence was stolen from her, so that she's not liable. Then we got a third person coming over talking about we want to use evidence from a person we know who was a mole, who was doing some illegal things. So like this whole situation is just like all a mess for the prosecutors. Like I don't understand that. And we see John actually decides like, okay, I'll give it DNA evidence as long as you guys just don't mention this to the jury. But I feel like the jury is going to ask like, what happened to the DNA evidence? They're going to be wondering like, oh, now there's no longer any DNA evidence. And we see this whole time Sandoval is in the corner, like looking around like, damn, I got to find a new way to make this case a little bit stronger. So going on from there, I feel like he's going to introduce that file about Sachs being that Sachs had mentioned to the judge. So that's how I'm going to feel like they're going to lose this case. Sandoval is going to bring that evidence into the case, and the judge is going to like know what it is due to Sachs. So this is going to like blow up in their face. That's what I think is going to happen with that little Sandoval situation, because we see Sandoval and Sachs both had a meeting with the mentor, and John. I think all of them had a meeting with Greg's mentor. We see John turns it down like, look, I'm not going to do it due to the fact that it's going to ruin our play on the case. The way we're playing the case is the fact that that he was the mole. Tommy and St. Patrick was working for him, and he was told to cover. Like he thought he was gonna cover. He felt like he was gonna snitch basically, and had to cover it up. Now that sounds like a better story, but if these tapes come out, that's gonna mess them all up. We see who else do we got? Dang, I think I covered everybody. We got Sandoval trying to find a way out. He hit up the mentor, basically trying to get more information. Like, oh, I believe you. I didn't want to bring it up, whatever, such and such, because this or that. And he'll really be like, oh, all right, show me some proof of that. And we see he doesn't. But hey, it's always time to tell. So with that, my power move of the week has to go to Tommy again. Well, not even Tommy. It has to. I'm gonna go to Tony. I didn't even cover Tony. Yeah, so Tony had a big part to play in this role. We see Tony get the So I'm gonna give Tony the power move of the week. Tony had the random guard bring him the oodles and noodles with the cell phone in the middle, and boy, I didn't see nobody do that with. That's where you know you get a little bit of power. Your ramen come with the cell, like they had the burner in it, and we see that he makes the phone call, he gets the information about ghosts. So that's where you're getting the power move. More so that he has the guards in his pocket, and we see that they bring in the top ramen like it's nothing. And from there, we see he goes and talks to Ghost. He breaks down the whole situation. Like, look, I seen you break old boy's wrist. I know who Egan is, and it only makes sense to me that even though he doesn't have any evidence that James is Ghost, because the dude tells him like, look, I don't know who the hell this Ghost guy is. Like, there's nothing to him. You don't know who he is, but he knows that St. Patrick runs with Egan. He knows St. Patrick knows how to take care of himself. And when it's that happens, he's put two and two together, like, oh, this is Ghost right here. And we find out how ruthless he is, that he's like some big thug for then. And it would threw me off. This makes it even more that I think he's Tommy's dad. He's like, look, I don't want anybody else handling the money. I only want Tommy to handle the money. I don't want Tommy to take it to my wife. So that could be, she's going to see Tommy like, oh, you look just like my husband, he was your age. It's going to be something like that. That's how we're going to find out that Tommy is actually Tony's dad. Well, Tony is Tommy's dad. And from there, that's really all we have. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to do a new segment today for my predictions. Let's do a prediction segment. So for predictions, I think, what do I think is going to happen? Boy, like I said, I'm pretty sure Tommy is Tony's son. When Tommy's going to on Tony's wife, she's going to see him like, oh, you look just like my husband when he was your age. That's my prediction there. I feel like Tommy's going to be forced to kill Julio and Tasha. Both of them. He's going to knock both of them out. Tasha's going to say something crazy to Ghost after Angela confronts her. And she's been knocked out. I'm telling you, Tasha, Julio are gone this season for sure. Tommy might go also because they're kind of been teasing that all season. Like anytime Petard comes up, he's like, oh, people in Chicago aren't going to be happy if we get busted or anything. So that's one thing I think is going to happen. I don't think Tommy's going to die. He's going to find some way out of it. But Ghost is going to help him with that situation. But beyond that, Tony is Tommy's dad. Keisha and Julio are going to go. Julio is probably going to be. It's going to be from Tommy, but Tommy's going to tell Dre to do it, like to prove his loyalty to him. And Tasha is going to be by Tommy's hands. That's how I feel off of Ghost's command. But beyond that, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, stay lost.